Should I clap?
All right, cool. No, you're good.
Yeah, you can. Give us a little sync up sound.
Is it good?
This clap's a little better than mine.
Podcast.
Nervous.
Yeah, I always get nervous when it starts. I know I should be used to it, but I'm always nervous.
Hey, yo, this is the ODcast. Hey, yo, this is the ODcast. Hey, yo, this is the ODcast. One day we'll invest in some real cameras.
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't tell that you guys were recording from. These are what, all iPhones and iPads?
Yeah. All
Really?
Apple products.
Yeah, dude, I could not tell. I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, these guys have pretty good quality cameras.
I guess that's the beauty
Cool.
of iPhones.
Yeah. Well, it's also good. I feel like lighting is more important than
Oh yeah.
actual.
We've been noticing.
cameras.
If you noticed on the episodes, are slowly progressing and getting better at lights and stuff like that.
Yeah. Key light, fill light.
All right, let's start. Well, hello everyone. This is the Oddcast. I am Oscar. You are Dylan. And who are you?
My name is Umraan Syed. Which camera should I look into?
Whichever you feel comfortable with.
This will probably be your main
Yeah.
closest camera, but we're all on all of them.
My name is Umraan Syed. It's nice to meet you, Dylan.
Nice to meet you
Oscar,
too.
man, dude.
It's been a while.
I've been waiting to say this, but 10 years ago we met.
We met at Adrian's house, right? Or
No.
Where did we?
10 years ago we met at Side Street.
Okay.
I was having a photo shoot with Bert.
Uh-huh.
Remember when I had like the Cuban cigar and the 3-piece suit?
Yeah,
You remember
I
that?
do remember
And we
that.
had
And
that
I talked
photo
about the
shoot.
Cuban cigars because I am still an avid fan of cigars.
I love cigars, yeah.
Yeah. Do
But
you
yeah.
still smoke?
From time to time, like I have a cigar like once or twice a year.
Okay. There was a moment in my lifetime that I smoked it once a week.
Wow.
Uh,
Fat ones, the stogies?
no, I can't do fat ones.
No.
I do the small ones, like
I love the small ones.
like the cigarette kinds.
Yeah.
Because the fat ones, like after smoking it, I just want to puke. Like I feel
Yeah.
dizzy. But yeah.
If I go to like a cigar lounge, I
Yeah.
like I like smoking through like the whole cigar because like the flavor profile changes.
Oh yeah.
The more you smoke it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it might start off spicy, eventually become a little sweet, and then becomes, I don't know, different after
Yeah.
that. But like, cigars are interesting.
They are. This is a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I like Cuban cigars. I have smoked them before. They're
Mhm.
pretty cool, but in the end, I think they're just because it's hard to get. People want them more. I don't think they're the
It's
best.
got the
cigar.
embargo hype.
Yeah, I don't think it has the best reputation as the best cigar out there. It's one of the best that I smoked,
Yeah.
but I think like Central
It's the
American,
scarcity. It's scarcity.
and Caribbean
Some
ones
of
are
my
good
favorite ones are from Nicaragua.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nicaragua too.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they're really good. But, yeah, I smoke it here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Sorry.
What about you, Dill? You ever had a cigar?
I've had one or two, but I would not call myself a cigar smoker.
Yeah, I feel that.
Do you inhale them?
No.
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 I mean, you said you
really.
smoke a whole cigar, so
Yeah,
you got to
I
get
don't
in
like.
a little.
I don't like take deep hits of it or anything
Yeah.
like that. You just kind of let it. I don't know, just like bleed out into your mouth. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the smoke just sort of like comes out slowly, and you
Yeah.
taste it, keep it in your mouth, inhale a
Mhm.
little bit. You know what I mean? You're just sort of like enjoying savoring it.
Mhm.
You know, you're not like it's not an inhaler.
Yeah, no. And I also learned, halfway through my cigar learning experience, that you never use a lighter. You use matches.
Matches or those types of like blowtorch lighters.
Yeah,
Where it's like a direct, like that blue flame.
Yeah.
I forgot. I think it doesn't have butane in it or something like that.
Yeah.
There's something about it that makes it, better than like a traditional lighter.
It's funny, like that culture, the scene of
Yeah,
tobacco
and then I mean it
use.
gets way more intricate too. Like the wraps, they
Uh-huh.
have like leaf wraps
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and tobacco leaves, right? Aren't some of them made out of tobacco leaves too?
Mhm. Yes.
Shit, we should have a cigar episode one day.
That would be nice.
You two guys
Yeah.
can cover that.
Well, look at you coughing on a Cuban.
I mean, that was my problem. No one told me not to inhale the first
oh,
one
really?
I had,
Don't
so I
inhale,
just like
no. 'Cause it's
puffed
too
one down
strong,
and
yeah.
was so nauseous for
Oh,
like a whole
man.
day
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah,
it was
that
the
happens.
worst.
Actually, I think that happened the first time I had a cigar also. It was really painful. I kept smelling like cigar smoke in my hair for like 3 days.
Oh, oof.
And like the carcinogens
Damn.
followed me everywhere I went.
Damn. Well, refresh my memory. That your suit, was it yellow or brownish?
No, it was like a pinstripe blue.
Pinstripe blue.
I gotta
Okay.
watch those plosives.
You really did pull off a pinstripe blue.
I wish I had
yeah.
the photos still, dude. I
Yeah.
might hit up Bert because I wanted to get it so I
Yeah.
could show you guys now.
Yeah.
And then we could show the viewers. But it was a really good.
Yeah.
It was a good shoot, you know, back in the college days.
That's true. And also, I mean, I know this is a weird transition, but like that style and fashion you had then, and then looking at the fashion that you progressed to, not now, but like 2 years ago, like you kind of had like a Jim Morrison vibe.
Oh,
When
yeah?
you were wearing the hat, you know?
I was wearing the hat a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like 3-4 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
5 years ago. Bismillah era.
Yeah,
I was wearing that.
yeah.
I was wearing that gray hat a lot. And then last year when I was releasing that song "Life as of Late," I was wearing like this really cool blue bowler hat.
Yeah.
I got it from where did we go? Hearst Castle. I took you to Hearst Castle, right? We got it from Hearst Castle. Have you guys ever heard of this place?
No. Is
So
it in Illinois? Or?
It's the only actual castle in America. And this guy, I think his name was William Hearst, in like the early mid 1900s. My history on it's a little rusty, but like in the early to middle 1900s, him and his team spent decades making an actual European style castle on the central coast of California.
Wow.
So they like even them scouting the location
Yeah.
took them forever. It's in like the San Simeon Hills, overlooking like the ocean and like Pacific Coast Highway. It was just incredible. But I went to the gift shop there and I got this really expensive bowler for a couple $100. So I've been wearing the shit out of that.
You know, I was talking to you about this maybe a long time ago, but like,
Jim Morrison though, I like that. I like that comparison.
yeah, I think it's the hair, but like, but certain musicians can pull off wearing a hat. You're one of them. I can't wear a hat.
No, you're not a hat guy?
I can't. I'm not a hat guy. It's just I don't know. You're one of the few that can pull it off.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love wearing hats, you know. I like always finding like interesting hats. Lately I've been really into bucket hats. And I've been going to see The Cure a lot lately.
Uh-huh.
So whenever I go to their shows, I buy a bucket hat. So I just
What
got
is
one
a
a couple
bucket
weeks
hat?
ago. You know, like the Kangol hats, like the round ones.
Okay.
Remember?
Okay.
Kangol made them pretty popular. That kangaroo logo.
Okay.
Yeah, those were really popular for a while.
Does The Cure make branded bucket hats?
I mean, it's a bucket hat with their name on it. So kind of, but I'm pretty sure they just go to a distributor and get it printed up, you know?
Bucket hats are not what I think of when I think of The Cure.
No.
You're talking about the goth 80s
Yeah.
Cure.
Yeah, The
Smith
Cure.
Cure, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they tour a lot? You've seen them multiple
They
times?
just started their tour, like their world tour. Last year, we saw them in Barcelona. And then earlier this month, I saw them in Portland.
Portland, nice.
Yeah.
And they were just here in Chicago last week.
Yeah, but the tickets were so expensive
Yeah.
here. I couldn't do it. Portland was a lot cheaper, but like, dude, Portland and like the Pacific Northwest is like my new love. Like, I'm obsessed with it up there. Washington, Portland,
what
such
is
a
it about
beautiful
it?
area, dude. The nature, and a lot of people, when I told them I was going to Portland, they were making like Antifa jokes and like political jokes and stuff like that. But it's not really like that. It's like it really is like a port town, you know, very like heavy on, I don't know, like it seemed like manufacturing plants and stuff like that. But the nature all around there is just incredible. And like specifically Washington, all the national parks there are like stunning. Stunning. Olympia, I went there. They had like one of the only, I think, rainforest, what do you call it? Rainforest,
Preserves?
no, it was like an actual rainforest. Like geographically, I think it's the only rainforest that's in America.
Wow.
Was in Olympia National Park.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so wild. You know what I mean? It's like very old trees and stuff. So it was super beautiful. I love it there. I listened to a lot of Fleet Foxes and Death Cab for Cutie, Seattle bands. So I was into the Pacific Northwest vibes this last month.
That's cool. That's
yeah.
cool.
Even though I went there to see The Cure.
Is that where you recorded some of your recent singing out in nature videos? Was that in Pacific Northwest?
I actually did record some there, but I didn't release those yet. The other ones that you saw, those were just like Illinois forest preserves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's your go-to forest around here? I guess there's a
I really
bunch.
honestly, I really like Raceway out in like Carpentersville.
I haven't been there.
You haven't been to Raceway?
And I haven't been to Raceway, and I discovered the history behind it because that was like a go-to place back in the Depression era or in the what you gonna call it, the Prohibition era.
Yeah. They actually had like races there.
Yeah.
It's an actual racetrack.
Yeah.
And now there's like a silo there, and they have like some placards for history. But they recently redid all of Raceway. Like they just totally paved over a lot of things, and they got rid of a lot of really cool things that we used to love when we were kids going there. You know,
That happens.
after like high school and shit. But I mean, it's still really great now. I love going there, but I like that like old school jungle feel that it used to have like 10, 15 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
Because I'm in nature. I don't want everything to be perfectly paved and manicured. I want some rough terrain.
No, totally.
You know.
And you're a nature guys. I noticed that you go a lot to trips and.
Yeah, we
What
go
was the
to
last
like
place you went?
Palos area has a lot of nice.
Palos Hills?
Yeah.
Yeah, down south.
Like Willow Springs. Yeah, just take 55 southwest, and it's
that's
nice.
I really like that about Illinois. There's so many nature preserves. So many around all over the state. You know what I mean? Like even if I'm going on trips and stuff, if I need like a break from just being in traffic, I'll like find the nearest nature preserve and like forest preserves, and they're all over the place. I wish Illinois had a national park, but what would be a national park in Illinois?
Yeah, I know.
You know
It's
what I
all
mean?
flatland.
It's in Starved Rock. Yeah,
Starved
that's
Rock.
a pretty big area.
Shawnee National Forest is really sick. You guys ever heard of that?
No, where is that?
It's down southern, like the southern tip of Illinois, by I think like the Kentucky border. It's I think one of the only national forests in Illinois, but it's just huge, and they have a lot of really cool paths and nature, and it's kind of hilly because it's getting closer into like Tennessee and or is it Tennessee or Kentucky? One of those states.
I think it's Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah.
I've been meaning to go to Kentucky for the Mammoth Cave.
Oh man, I wanted to go kayaking in there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I haven't kayaked. I want to kayak. I want to.
Yeah,
that's on my
like
bucket list.
that's like a thing that people do at Mammoth Caves. I think
Yeah.
if I think we're thinking of the right one, the same one. But yeah, I want to check that out. But yeah, anyways, it's been 10 years since we met, man.
Shit,
Can you believe
crazy.
it?
That's
You still look the
crazy.
same.
Thank you. I think I've aged. No, you look the same. I
Think so? I think I've
I mean,
aged.
I don't think you look old, but like
My
you don't
look
look
has
the-
changed.
Your look has changed, but
Yeah.
you haven't aged, is what I mean.
Yeah. I feel like your look has stayed pretty consistent.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
Got the scruff, you got the hair.
It's funny you say that because like
Generally the same proportions.
Thank you. Funny you say that because like there's like I'm seeing some friends and acquaintances that they're showing me their pictures when they were young and they had an emo phase and all that stuff, and I like try to be nice and giggle like, oh, that's funny, but I'm thinking to myself like, you look bad back then. why
They didn't,
Yeah.
dude. They didn't think they looked bad
Because-
back then.
because I think my style has been the same. You
Yeah,
know?
I'd say so.
Like the only difference now is that like I like Adidas now, so I'm wearing more track suits and stuff like that. But that's it. I still wear band shirts. I still wear
Yeah.
jeans. No, I don't wear blue jeans anymore because I don't think blue jeans look good on me.
I like dark wash blue jeans.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those dark ones. I like those a lot. But yeah, no, I agree. I feel like I've been pretty consistent too. A lot of people have pretty erratic childhoods and just like
Yeah.
upbringings and stuff like that. Did you ever have a emo phase or a Grind-
Not full on like
grindcore.
the Hot Topic look.
Yeah.
I would just wear like band T-shirts and a lot of black. Went through a brief eyeliner phase in high school, but
nice?
that was
Really?
short-lived.
How was it hard wearing eyeliner? I never done eyeliner in my life.
I wasn't like very technical about it. I would just like scribble a little around my eye, and
Uh-huh.
people would look at me really weird in the hallways.
I've been wearing eyeliner lately.
Is it cool?
Yeah, there's actually a
Yeah.
specific type of like an Islamic eyeliner called what is it called? Kajal, something like that. But it's like I don't know all the history behind it, but I know it's just good for you. It's basically a type of charcoal.
Uh-huh.
It's like an activated charcoal, and it like goes around your eyes. So sometimes I'll put that little bit of that on. Sometimes I'll actually do eyeliner.
I was
It's
going to ask
Maybelline.
this because I saw like a video a long time ago, and it's kind of hard for me to talk about it without sounding racist. And I'm not trying to be racist. I'm trying to be.
Man,
I'm curious.
whenever people preface with things like that, I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, just
I'm
say
gonna
it.
say
You know
it.
what I mean? Like, just say it.
Like I heard that there's science behind wearing like black paint underneath your eye when you're in the desert. Like, it's,
yeah. I've
yeah.
heard that too. I've heard
Yeah,
that too.
football players do it too because they're in the sun. It like kind of
Yeah.
blocks some of the, or like reflects
but there's
something. I don't know.
a specific like.
Wouldn't white reflect, but black absorbs? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
really know because I
exactly,
never
yeah.
really grew up in the desert.
Yeah.
I'm an Illinois boy.
And
Maybe having something dark there makes it less glare
Yeah.
off your skin. I don't know. Why
Potentially,
why
but I know
it.
they do cover their bodies completely.
it's funny you
and
say
they
that
wear
because
white.
I was born in the desert. I'm from Mexico in the desert area. Like, hi. and
Oaxaca?
No, not Oaxaca, Zacatecas.
Oh, you're from Zacatecas?
Yeah. So like that's one thing I do. Like I always try to layer up because the sun will fucking kill you.
Yeah, especially me with
Yeah.
dark ass skin. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, if I'm not wearing a lot of clothes in the summer, I'm getting charbroiled.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, it's
yeah.
really tough. And like the tan and the burnt skin lasts all year.
Yeah. I can, yeah.
It lasts a really long time for me.
Yeah. And that's where I wear hats too because it's a pain. But let's talk about you.
Man, less about me, more about you.
No, I mean,
No, I'm joking. I'm
but
okay to talk
we
about
listen to
myself.
your music and it's very good. It's really interesting. I liked your first album, Bism, a lot better than the second one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I enjoy the jazz inspiration on the first one.
Yeah.
You still have jazz on the second one,
Definitely.
but there's more hip hop
Much more
inspiration.
hip hop, jazz, like sampling and stuff like that on the first one. Yeah, I agree with that. You know, the 5-year anniversary of that album's coming up this year, towards the end of this year. So I was thinking about actually releasing like a slowed reverb version of Bismillah, the album.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, are you into slowed reverb types of songs? Have you guys gotten into that?
I saw some of yours with the anime
Okay,
videos.
great. Yeah.
So you're kind of like building up to a full release of that.
Yeah, I mean, we released those a couple years ago, but now I want to like put it on all streaming platforms. There's just like a really big subculture that's into like slowing down and adding reverb to songs because it makes it much more like emotional and like mysterious sounding. So in that first album, you know, I was still working out how to like use my voice and stuff. So it tends to be a little bit more like higher pitched or even sometimes nasally than what I would do now. But when I slow down and reverb it has like this very darker, ominous feel to it. So, and that's why some of the anime that I use reflects that, you know, like I used Attack on Titan and stuff. But yeah, I was thinking about releasing that this year.
Is there any other production you do when you're slowing and adding reverb? Like, is it?
You slow it down a little bit, you add some reverb, maybe some EQ, compress it, you know what I mean? But generally you don't want to really mess with the mix or any of the production that you had when you
So the
like,
pitch-
actually made it.
You don't like do maintain pitch when you slow it down. You let it just actually get lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Did you happen to listen or
Yeah, I
Or looked at-
heard one or two of the
of the
slow
slowed
and
reverb ones? Yeah,
they're
so
cool.
like you can tell the voice is like pitched down.
I heard those before I heard the full album, so
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
even know what to compare it to. I was like, oh, this sounds cool, but I
Nice.
didn't go back and hear after I heard what the original sounded like.
Yeah, like back and forth. Yeah.
Because you're only slow. It's only getting pitched down by a couple.
couple semitones. Yeah, not too
Okay,
much.
not like a crazy vaporwave. Whoa,
No, nothing like that.
That's
Is there-
a
is that a type
cool
of
aesthetic
music?
too. Yeah, vaporwave.
Just very pitched down and like
A lot of like old like R&B samples where they just isolate the vocal and make it super deep. It's a cool genre. Macintosh Plus is probably like the most well-known artist.
damn, I gotta check that out. I love messing with pitch and speed, especially when I'm doing like a lot of my own productions and stuff. It's just so interesting the types of different sounds that you can get.
You had a
know?
cool like layered, almost like Kendrick Lamar moment where you were doubling yourself with like a super low vocal. I don't know if that was on the most recent album.
I
or
think
the
that was on
previous.
Bismillah. I might have done that like in Shadows. One
Was
of
there
those
also a
songs.
high version too?
Oh
Or
wait,
is
no, I did
just
it in
low?
all the same. Yeah, it's like a very jazzy one with like saxophone and stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys like that jazz sound, huh?
Yeah,
I was-
I'm a jazz head, so
Yeah, I was thinking about going more in that jazz direction.
Yeah.
I really love that sound. I just don't know if I would want to do like continue to sample and chop or like make my own samples and like work with like a jazz band.
Yeah.
And like create samples that way, you know? So there is a lot to explore there, but that is actually something I've heard from a lot of people that they really like the jazz stuff that I do and like the jazz influence.
Yeah, totally. Like I really enjoy I forget the name of the song, but it's the last song of your second album.
Pride?
Yeah,
With the gospel singer and the orchestra.
I was really enjoying that.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
I enjoyed the string work. It was cello and violin, right, in the beginning.
The beginning was cello, violin. I think we had a viola in there. I don't remember.
Yeah. So I was enjoying kind of like how it was getting heavy, and then the drums came and the piano came. It was really good.
Did you notice how the beat changed from like sampled program drums to like live drums?
Yes.
All of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, hardcore.
I was really messing with that style.
Yeah.
I was trying to really go into like the direction of like progressive hip hop at that time, and like exploring that subgenre and like being a like a trailblazer for it almost. You know what I mean? Sort of like what progressive rock was for rock and roll. I was trying to do for hip hop by making it progressive hip hop. So I'm still definitely exploring themes of that in the next album, but I'd say it's a little bit more accessible.
I was going to say about the second album. I've noticed that it's a little bit more personal for you.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, for Bismillah, I was like exploring topics. Like I was just like spitting out things that I just really was thinking about at that moment. You know what I mean? But for House in the Vines, I took a lot more time for that one, and you know, a lot more things were happening in my life at that point. So yeah, it is a lot more personal. And then, you know, the next project I'm working on it is still very personal, but it's more like conceptual. I'm almost telling the story from a different person's point of view, you know, embellishing certain aspects, but still pulling a lot from my own life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A line that really got me really contemplative is where you said that your successes you thank Allah, but your flaws you blame yourself.
Yeah, that's the opening line for the whole album.
Yeah, and I mean, if I get too personal, tell me to stop.
Oh, bro, let's get personal.
But like, where does that mentality come from? Like, in some ways, I'm asking like, why are you being hard on yourself? But at the same time, like, did someone like put that pressure on you that you know, like
it's actually liberating. I wouldn't even say that it's like pressure. It's kind of like liberating. Like, you know, Allah is a perfect being, right? He's the Almighty. He's the Creator, and so, you know, anything good that happens, it happens because of Him, through Him. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're doing it also, but ultimately, everything goes back to Him. And then any flaws that we do, any mistakes that we make, we're flawed. We're humans.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like, so it's not really like. I see where you're coming from, but it's not really like I'm saying that if I make a mistake or if a flaw happens, like I'm going to be hard on myself. It's just that it comes from me, not from the Creator. So,
Gotcha.
And, you know, though I might be Muslim or, you know, I'm a believer and, you know, if you look to me to be like, I don't know, like infallible or something like that, just know that I'm not. And like, if I do things that are wrong, it comes from me, but it's not something that like, that tears me down. You know, we all make mistakes, but I like to just clarify that also, like in my music and stuff, you know, I talk a lot about like troubled things and, you know, things that I went through and tough times and good times and just a whole array of topics. So I just try to like preface with that on the album, you know? But yeah, it's more of like a liberating thing. You know, it's a way to like let go and just continue living, continue being human.
What does House in the Vines refer to, the title of the album?
So that album, House in the Vines, is it's named after this house that I lived in for a while in around like Lincoln Park area. And it was this cute coach house that was just like completely covered in vines. It was like an old ass house from like late 1800s or something.
I love coach houses. They're so cool.
I know, me too, man. I just wish they were a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was that house, and I lived there from, you know, mid 2010s, like 2016, 17ish to like 18, 19. So the album really just covers everything that I went through during the time that I was living at that house.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of a concept album. Loose concept, you know, but the next project I'm working on is a very concise and elaborate concept project.
And is it going to be kind of like the second album where it's a mixture of electronic and of having a band with you as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mixture of that, but it's I would say it's more refined,
Mm-hmm.
less raw.
Okay.
I would say House in the Vines, like when I was making it, I thought it was a lot more refined and polished.
Yeah.
But now hearing it, it's like compared to the new stuff I'm doing, that has more of a raw sound.
Mm-hmm.
The new one is more polished, but I'm trying to really strike a balance between like all the sounds that I have and like what I want to accomplish. But I have like a singular focus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the music that I made that I'm making on this album, it's sort of like a foundation. It's like a canvas for me to paint on with my words,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So the music is really like sonically helping to tell the story. And that's what I'm focused on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for like House in the Vines and Bismillah, I was like trying to break new ground and experiment with new sounds. And I had just started producing when I was making those albums too. So I was like a little bit earlier on with like working with DAWs and putting together full production. So now I feel like I'm hitting like a creative peak. So I'm trying to just make the best possible art and not sacrificing anything, you know?
Totally.
So when you're starting a song, does like the instrumental come first? Do you work on make a beat and then come up with lyrics, or do you have lyrics first and you try to craft a sound to go around it?
Even making a beat is like, it takes so freaking long for me. Like some of the beats that I make and like the instrumentals, like several months, several studios, different people playing on it. I get certain people to play on stuff and then like I might chop it up or not even use it at all. So yeah, to answer your question, I start with the music for the most part. And then like I'll try to make music that really focuses on just how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I speak through the music, even without lyrics. So I make something that feels true to how I've been feeling. And then I'll start to like think about it like, okay, I made this music, like what words come to mind? Like what experiences have I experienced recently or in general that are just that are informing these artistic and musical decisions, you know? So they both kind of like mesh together really well. But it's mixed. For the most part, I start with music and then I'll get into lyrics. Lyrics take me an extremely long time too.
Yeah, in my opinion, I feel like lyrics are the hardest part. Just trying to find the right beat, the right rhythm,
And then
cadence, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and then knowing how to utilize your voice, because I mean, you can very easily get like nasally with the way you use your voice. Knowing how to even record, like being a studio singer versus a live singer, they're both very different. You know what I mean? They're different settings and there's a lot that goes into it. You know what I mean? But I love that. I love how many different options there are and how many different ways there are to produce songs and music. You know what I mean?
So you mentioned recording different musicians in studios. Is that mainly where you work, in studios? Do you do anything at home, like recording vocals anything?
I mean, a lot of my albums I record at home and then just like home set up studios. A lot of vocals I used to do as well, but now I try to stick to sound treated and like choosing the right microphone and preamps and stuff, and whether I'm recording analog or if I'm digitally recording my voice. So it always just depends on the song and the sound that I'm going for. You know, sometimes I'll mix it up where I'm making music that's very like digitally processed, but I want my vocals and certain instruments to sound very analog, you know? So I'll go in different directions with it.
You're rapping. I really like your rapping, and I just wanted to ask, how do you practice your rapping? Because like,
dude, rapping is like one of
Yeah,
the
it's-
oldest things that I've been doing.
Yeah.
Like ever since I was a little kid.
Uh-huh.
I remember when like Eminem came out, when he like made his debut in like
Uh-huh.
99.
Yeah.
That was like when I started getting into rapping.
Yeah.
I was just a little kid. And a lot of my style, I would say it comes from Eminem, Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def,
Uh-huh.
and Talib Kweli.
Okay.
And those guys are just like some of the biggest influences. And then right after that, I'd say Outkast. Those are like the absolute biggest
Uh-huh.
influences for me. And I like rhythms a lot, you know, and the cool thing about rapping is that so much of it is just based off like rhythm and cadence and flow and riding the beat, fitting into certain pockets. And
Yeah.
I love like bending words. Like I consider
Yeah.
myself like a wordsmith. So I love to just bend and play around with it like
Yeah.
that. And it's like a playground for me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like it's an area where I can do things that are very cathartic to me, to what I need at the time, but also like experiment and just have fun, you know? So I think I've developed a pretty unique way of rapping.
Mhm.
You know, it's not for everybody. A lot of people don't like it. I have certain people that listen to my music that don't like my hip hop songs at all, but they love the singing shit.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I mean, on upcoming projects, I'm definitely mixing it up more. I'm thinking about working on an all just rock album.
Mhm.
You know, when I say rock, it's more like indie, alternative, psychedelic, folk. You know what I mean?
That's where you got your inspiration
Yeah.
when you were in Seattle or in Washington
Yeah,
State.
yeah, I did big time. But yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for saying that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I also noticed that you're a Pumpkins fan because I saw
Yeah.
that you were playing Tonight a while back.
Yeah. Huge
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins
Yeah.
fan. So yeah, we did a cover of Tonight, which I think is freaking sick, dude. It's such an epic cover. And just the way it all turned out, and you know the people that we had in the orchestra, and the conductor, it was a great session. It was like early COVID that we made that.
Yeah, pre-COVID.
Could see the
before-
musicians
No, early
wearing
COVID.
masks.
Early COVID. Yeah, it was
Oh.
it was summer 2020.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised you got a production that big done at that time of
Yeah,
the
man.
pandemic.
People
Yeah.
were scared.
People were pretty scared. But all these musicians were so bored at home.
Oh, that's
I was
true.
like, I'm putting together this fat ass production. I just found this amazing studio over in Wicker. So let's cook up, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, I love Smashing Pumpkins.
Do you have a favorite album from them?
Man, that's a tough one, dude. I really love Machina is really great. And
Really interesting.
it's not my favorite, but I love Machina.
Uh-huh.
But I would say my favorite is probably the one from '95, the double album, Melancholy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Melancholy's good.
What about you? You seem like a Siamese.
No, I'm
you seem
trying
like a Siamese
to
dream kind of
get
guy.
him riled up because he's a hardcore Smashing Pumpkins fan.
Hardcore fan?
I think
Yeah.
he is. I think
I'm
he
not a
is.
hardcore fan, but I love him.
I love him too.
What's your-
Oscar's kind of the least
Wait,
of a fan here.
What is
Yeah.
What is the Siamese? Is it Siamese Dream?
Siamese Dream,
It is
yeah.
Siamese
Yeah.
Dream, right? I always get confused with the Cure's
Yeah.
Siamese twins.
I
I think they have a
Oh.
song or something
Yeah.
called Siamese twins.
Yeah, that's probably up there as one of my favorites, but I like the ones you mentioned too. Machina's weird and
fire.
interesting.
Yeah, I really love the producer that they used on that. I think they used Flood, and he did
Yeah.
like albums with like.
thought it was Albini. Or did he do
I
Siamese
don't think
Dream?
they've ever worked with
I don't think they've
Albini.
ever used
No,
it.
they never
Albini.
did. Okay, here
I'm
I
thinking
thought
of
they
Butch
did.
Vig.
Butch Vig, thank you. I always get confused with that. Yeah.
Flood did Melancholy
is
too.
fire.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best
He's
rock
incredible,
producers.
dude.
Flood?
Butch Vig.
Butch Vig, okay.
I've
He's-
actually.
Where does he live? Or where did he live when he started doing that stuff? In
Albini?
Wisconsin.
No,
Butch?
Butch Vig, yeah.
He's from Wisconsin.
Yeah, Madison.
I thought he. For some reason, I got like.
He's
what
worked
do
with
you call it?
Depeche Mode too.
Seattle, Washington vibes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, Wisconsin's kind of like that in the country.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I see. That.
But yeah, those albums are really good. Did you guys hear the new Pumpkins album?
Not all of it, but
It's
some of it.
It's a big one. What is it? A triple album?
Yeah,
Atom?
33
Is it called
songs.
Atom? Atom?
Yeah, Autumn is how they're pronouncing it,
Autumn
but it
is how
looks
they're saying
like a
It looks like
Atom
Atom.
or Atom or something. Yeah, I have very mixed feelings about the direction they're going as a band.
Really?
It sounds very synthetic to me, but not in a good way.
What did you think about like Zeitgeist and
Not into that either.
no?
You know,
So you kind of stop after like Machina?
Pretty much, yeah.
you know,
2000 was the end in my eyes.
When did Machina come out? 2001 or 2000?
2000,
Like
I think.
99 or 2000.
Yeah,
That was their last of the original.
Adore was like
before
97.
97, 90.
Yeah.
That's my favorite album.
Adore is fantastic.
Adore
I was
is
going to
really
mention
good,
that one
yeah.
too. I would say Adore and Machina are pretty close for me.
Yeah.
Close ties. But yeah, I would say Melancholy is probably my favorite.
I'm just waiting for Billy Corgan to get into rapping. That's when I'll come back as a fan.
Imagine if Kanye and Billy, did a song.
They're
or
both
together.
egomaniacal enough to
And they're both
collaborate.
from Chicago.
I think
too.
that would be a really cool collaboration.
True.
Yeah.
I think so too. That would be that would get the internet on fire.
And they're both Trump supporters. I mean, Billy never said it, but all the fans or people who are close
I
to
don't
him,
think Billy Corgan's a Trump supporter.
people who are close to him, they say that Billy would vote for Trump, but
Really?
Billy never said anything. But yeah, remember that article that Robert showed us
About Trump?
about how like it was in the Chicago Tribune, and people were saying like Billy would totally vote for Trump.
Ask people
Yeah.
saying that, dude. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
not a source.
Yeah, that
No,
sounds
it's not a
that sounds
source,
really
but-
reliable, dude.
But it was like a gossip column though. It was one of those.
Yeah,
Things.
that sounds really reliable.
Great.
It was crazy how Robert found that.
I honestly don't
Anyway.
give a shit who anybody votes for,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I'm friends with Trump supporters. Who gives a shit, man? Like, you can vote for who you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people reserve that right to vote for who you want, regardless of
True.
what you believe in. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see myself not being friends with people based off how they vote, unless it's some sort of like really crazy, like genocidal thing. But that's, obviously a different story.
Yeah, but I feel like it might be a slippery slope. So I
It
mean,
is.
obviously, I'm not going to like stop being friends with them, but it just makes me want to say like kind of like
I can
put myself in a distance.
I can imagine
Yeah.
like maybe keeping certain people
Yeah.
at arm's length.
Yeah, yeah.
But like completely cutting them out
Yeah,
of your life
it's-
and like shunning them and their existence based off who they voted. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean? A lot of people do that. And I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Really
Noticed-
crazy.
I've met some of them. Yeah. Dude, I ended a lot of potentially good friendships because of that. Because I don't like Zeppelin.
Yeah, it happens with families a lot. Like
Yeah.
parents who are really on one side or the
Yeah.
other. It could go both ways, I think. You could have a Republican kid hating his liberal parents. I feel like that's less common, though. But I'm sure it happens.
Yeah. I consider myself kind of moderate, so I kind of get shit from both sides.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Because there's things I like about both sides and there's things
Yeah.
I hate and dislike about both sides, you
Yeah.
know? So, people just think I'm like a flip-flopper, but really like the truth of everything I feel like is in the middle. I don't think any side is completely 100% right. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course not.
I haven't heard that term flip flop in a long while. It's funny.
Politicians flip-flop like
Uh,
crazy.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah,
They're known for flip-flopping.
Mm-hmm.
it was like a 2008 election term or something. Or maybe even before
2004.
that.
It was
Gore?
They used it with John
Gore
Kerry.
and Bush.
Oh, there we go.
Was it
Yeah.
Gore and Bush?
No,
Uh,
Gore and Bush was 2000.
That was 2000. I remember
Yeah.
that one.
It was pre 9/11.
You're right, Kerry and
Kerry and Bush.
I liked Kerry.
Yeah, Kerry was all right.
Sorry.
So
Damn, a tape delay pedal? That's sick. What kind of big muff is that? I got a big muff too.
that would be the Russian, like late '90s muff.
Really?
I can see that you two are Pumpkins fans talking about big muffs.
Dude, that's so sick. So does it get like a more unique sound than like an American-made modern one?
That's the only muff I've ever owned. So to me, it's just sounds like a big muff. But I've heard like I like it better than most muffs I've played on like friends' pedal boards. So
Really?
I think it is different. It's a little more aggressive. I've heard.
I mean, that's what you want out of a muff.
Sometimes they can be very like woolly and woofy. So this one cuts through a little more.
Nice. That's really cool.
You were playing some nice acoustic guitar earlier. I know you play that on your music, right? But do you
Oh,
ever
yeah,
play
I'm a big-
electric much on your songs too?
Yeah, a lot.
Like
probably-
with distortion and everything.
Oh, yeah, especially on a lot of upcoming tracks and stuff.
Yeah, it's a gentle surprise when I hear electric guitar
Who?
on your albums.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a,
I
it's
try
a
to-
nice gentle surprise.
I use it like in a subtle way, but
Yeah.
a lot of my stuff moving forward is a lot more guitar heavy, guitar driven.
Yeah.
Guitar heavy as in like not heavy guitars,
Yeah.
but a bigger presence of guitars. I like getting really interesting with the way I use guitars, non-traditional tones and playing things a little bit atonal. I put a lot of harmonics in my music. Sometimes the only guitar I'll have in songs is just harmonics,
Gotcha.
just to like add a little more like oomph to it, you know? What were we talking about right before this though?
Oh, I
Before
was gonna ask
politics?
Politics.
politics.
Before slight politics.
We were talking about Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I was gonna ask your new single "Transform." Can you talk more about the idea of your art cover? Because I saw there was like a space, like an astronaut,
Yes, sir.
chilling in the
Yes, sir.
beach. Or
So what
was like I for some reason I got like David Bowie like
Really?
vibes.
It's always
from
so
it,
interesting
yeah.
hearing when people think
Yeah.
about your music and your
Yeah.
art and stuff like that. You know, I wouldn't have gotten that, but I love the comparison.
Yeah, yeah. Just from I haven't listened to the
so-
music, just from the art that is.
Yeah, so for all the songs that I'm releasing and working on now, it's going to be part of a bigger project, like a concept project I told you about. And it follows this spaceman character and like what he's getting into in life. And without giving too much away, the basic synopsis is that there's this main character, we'll just call him Spaceman for now, and he's living in regular society just like us, in Chicago, and the world that he lives in is very overpopulated and overpolluted and stuff like that. And so he gets super like disillusioned with the things that are happening in his life and the interactions that he's having. On the project, there'll be things like love and heartbreak and substance abuse, mental health issues, and the monotony of life and having a regular day job and wanting more out of life. And it follows his path of finding like acceptance and a place to belong,
Okay.
and the spacesuit that he's in is he's constant. He feels like an outsider, that's the thing that separates him from everybody else, and like the only comfort he feels is within that spacesuit, and he has a proclivity for women as well, so you'll see a lot of females around him throughout like different songs and like parts of the album and stuff. So it plays part of a bigger story, and there's going to be a lot more that comes out with it, but basically it's just going to follow his story and what he does and how he ends up finding that self-actualization.
He's a spaceman because he's from space originally, or is he?
No,
wearing the
he's trying
suit
to
'cause
he's trying to get into space. He's trying to
Okay.
escape Earth. Sorry, I thought I made that clear. But yeah, he's wearing that spacesuit because he's trying to leave Earth, this really like dark, hellish place that he's in currently, where he's just interacting with people that are bringing him down, and he's having negative experiences, and he's just not happy with his life. Sort of that like early 20s angst.
Okay.
That's kind of where he's at.
Yeah.
Sounds relatable. I
Very
feel
much
like
so.
a lot of people feel like they want to.
Very much so. That's why I feel like
Yeah.
this character in the story is really gonna like
And the,
strike a chord with people that take the time to like to understand it. And like the way I wanted to do the creative direction is sort of like postmodern, the way it's all black and white.
Yeah.
A lot of it is shot on film, like medium format stuff, and
the video work, or you mean the photo, the
photos.
stills?
So all the stills so each song is gonna have its own cover art, and so that is all like medium format film stuff.
And
It's
then-
kind of
and then-
beach, right? Sorry.
sorry.
What beach
it's all
was
around
that?
America, honestly.
Okay.
It's
It looked kind of outer spacey.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's so
Shot
some
in
of it
Mars.
was like in Malibu, Calabasas, Joshua Tree. I think some in Nevada,
Okay. California.
I got like stuff in the Midwest, a lot of West Coast, and there's a lot more coming too. So
But it all comes back to what we were talking earlier, how you need to go to nature just to escape from it, So it's kind of like a metaphor of that, which I've noticed.
yeah.
from
So
what you're
I mean,
saying.
what he's trying to do is
Yeah.
he's basically just traveling the world, traveling America, trying to find his meaning. You know what I mean? And if he can't find it here, then he's trying to figure out how he can go into space and find this place called Zenith, which is supposedly like a utopia in the story of where he's trying to go. And so yeah, I mean, more will come on that.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. But damn, I like the Bowie.
Yeah.
The Bowie comparison there. That's weird. He hasn't done anything with space, like Space Men, right? I know he has a song Space Oddity.
Yeah.
Ziggy Stardust,
Yeah.
Spiders from Mars, right? Was that
Yeah.
space themed?
That's space themed.
It was space themed.
And also, Major Tom is all about space too.
Yeah, that's Space Oddity.
Yeah. Yes. That's, you're right.
Yeah, I guess he
Writing
has
a concept album seems like a really hard like balance to find, like how literal you want to be with the allegorical stuff.
It's been a struggle.
Are you going to have literal like
characters and
I'm
stuff
putting
like
on
that.
my space helmet. I want to go to space.
Definitely some literal stuff, but I'm also a pretty cryptic guy, and I like metaphors and leading the audience to something so that they have to think. You know, I really don't like spoon feeding my audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's
Totally.
a big problem with art these days, and like shows and
I think
movies.
that, that's a big problem overall
Spoon feeding,
because
dude.
everyone, and I've also noticed this in the 90s too. And I'm talking about movies though, but like what I've noticed is like the biggest assumption that people make when they make stuff or make mediums is assume that the audience is stupid. And I
Yeah.
hate that.
I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of that is, it's kind of tailored towards like if you want like mainstream success. Though.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
which
Like,
sucks.
because a lot of people do make their
Yeah.
art for people that like aren't a stupid audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the type of stuff that might not see the type of commercial appeal, you know, or the commercial success.
Yeah, because like I'm going on a weird tangent here, but like that's one of the reasons why The Sopranos is a great show, because David Chase, when he started making, is like, I'm going to assume that my audience is smart, so I'm not going to tell them this and this is happening. They're going to figure it out themselves. You
I
know?
feel like Mad Men was kind of like that too.
And the creator of Mad Men was a writer in The Sopranos.
Oh, really?
So you know,
I never saw The Sopranos, but I've always wanted to
Oh,
see that show.
It's a great show.
That one.
It's a great show.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad is good,
feel like those are shows
but the
I've wanted to
problem
see.
with Breaking Bad, in my opinion, is I think the fans ruin it.
Really?
Yeah, the fans go crazy about how it's the greatest show ever, and also what I don't like about the show is like every episode ends with a cliffhanger, which makes you want to watch it more.
So it's kind of formulaic.
Very formulaic.
You see, that's what I don't like about shows
Yeah.
these days, is that they're all so formulaic.
Yeah.
You know? Like I like Law and Order episodes and stuff like that, like the earlier seasons. And
It's funny how you get into it. Like you just.
I mean, I love Law and
Oh.
Order. I think that was like I think that those early seasons were great
were
drama.
fun. They're fun.
Great drama.
Yeah.
You know? But then you start like recognizing the formula and the
Yeah.
trajectory of how these
Mhm.
shows are made, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, like it's such compelling stories and characters and stuff, but why does it have to have a formula? You know what I mean? So, you know, that's just something to think about. But, you know, with my art, I again, I'm trying to find the balance where like I don't want to follow a specific formula, hence like the progressive element
Mhm.
to it,
Oh.
but I want it to be accessible. So like finding that balance between being like progressive, experimental, but also being accessible to people and to fans is like, it's been like a whole career spanning journey for me to find that, you know?
Totally.
And I'm still, you know, balls deep in trying to figure out that balance.
Yeah. That's very hard, and it's very challenging to do that.
Yeah, it is. I want to do, I want to get more into like visual art and stuff, like a visual album and, you know, I don't know, like screenplays and stuff like that. There's just so much art that I want to make, and it's just really difficult without like crazy funding or like, you know, like a really big demand, like Donald Glover, right? He can work on anything he wants, and you know there'll be a huge demand for it. I think I remember him saying something about how when he was starting to make art or something like that, he wanted to get to the point where he could just make art freely that he wants to make without have like expectations, like I have to hit these numbers or I have to recoup this much money and stuff like that, which I always thought was very interesting, and it is kind of like the goal of being a contemporary artist.
To not feel like the expectation is to make money.
Yeah, that, and also to be able to freely make art the way you want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I guess it does come down to like the expectation of money and like the success like that. You know, attributing your success to money. You know, I would attribute, you know, artistic success to good ass art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people make art just to make it, and you know, there's a lot of mediocre art out there, especially these days with so many tools that make it easy and like, you know, automate art, like creation and stuff. Like more like mediocre shit's just gonna be getting pumped out, you know. So it's like
True.
it's hard to keep finding new artists and stuff like that you really like. You know, that's why I tend to gravitate towards older music.
No, same here. There's a sea of a lot of stuff, and it's hard to find the good stuff.
Very much so.
But again, it's all subjective. But yeah, it's
subjective, but I think there's elements of art that are still objective too.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even when I make my music, I look at what are the objective rules that make music impactful and specifically like genre specific rules that make the music a success, and then I pull from that, you know.
Totally.
And I'll even look at like, you know, objective rules that work for other music
Yeah.
styles like classical, and then try and infuse some elements of that, you know. So there's a lot that goes into it.
I'm assuming you're referring to like AI and tools and stuff as like stuff that makes stuff
I
really
wasn't
easy.
at first, but then the more I was talking, I was like, oh, I'm kind of that's
doesn't-
kind of like what AI
it's-
is.
It's just
increasing.
beginning.
Yeah, but no, I mean even like DAWs, like Ableton,
yeah.
and you know, like splice samples. I mean, I use samples, of course, but like, you know, I've always actually wanted to do a breakdown of how I do use samples, and like public samples or royalty free samples,
Yeah.
and then what the actual finished song sounds like. Because if you were to take away some of the samples, it would still be a very fleshed out piece of art. You know what I mean? And like I try not to rely too much on like single samples that give you like melodies or loops and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I try to make it very original still.
Are there certain producers that that inspire you a lot?
Yeah, dude. Flood.
Flood is one of them.
Flood is a
Yeah.
really, really big influence of mine.
What's he worked on besides like Pumpkin stuff? I don't know much about his
Depeche
other.
Mode.
Okay.
His work with Depeche Mode, I think, is his best work ever.
Was he working with them back in the early days of Depeche Mode?
Mid. I think he worked with them like on Violator and Songs of Faith and Devotion.
Uh-huh.
So like the 90s albums. Those two
Okay.
specifically, I think.
What is it
Um,
about his production that you enjoy? If you can like articulate it.
Oh man, it's just, well, first of all, he brings out the best qualities of the artists he works with, which is like the goal of a producer, right? You don't want to be a producer that comes in and like makes the band do something that's outside of their wheelhouse if they're not like ready for that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that he is a great producer because his technical knowledge paired with his ability to, you know, see what strengths the artists have.
Yeah.
And then, you know, blending both those together really makes him a super effective producer. And not only that, you know, he was working at a time where like these artists were at their peaks. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think he even worked with U2. He might have done Octung Baby,
Okay.
that U2 album from '91. I don't remember exactly. That might have been Anton Corbijn. He also worked with all these artists. Have you guys heard of Anton
No,
Corbijn,
I
the
haven't heard of
photographer?
him.
I've heard the name, but I don't know what
he's
he
like
produced.
he's like an amazing photographer that did a lot of creative direction for Depeche Mode and U2 and like so many bands. He even made a film called Control, which was based off like Ian Curtis and Joy Division.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I've
Listening
seen
to
that.
Yeah,
It's a good movie.
I remember watching that as a kid when it came out. I've been listening to a lot of Joy Division lately.
Going back to photography, because that's, you know, how we met. Like I saw you hanging out with Bert. How can you talk to me the progression from photography to music? Or because I didn't know who you were before that. Maybe you'd been doing music all your life, but like.
Well, really,
Yeah.
that day, I mean, I was more so modeling.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Oh yeah.
because I wasn't behind the lens. I
That
was in
makes
front of
sense.
the lens.
That
So
makes
you know,
sense, yeah,
I just had like, but not only that, I actually did do photography for many years.
Mhm.
It's just art, you know what I mean? Like I like documenting and like exploring the beautiful side of life.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, with photography, videography, you're able to capture so much with it, and it's a big, beautiful world. You
Yeah.
know, and I wanna like tell stories through that. You know,
Yeah.
and then music was my first love. You know, like I've wanted to be a musician since I was like in preschool.
Mhm.
And so the cool thing about being a musician is that there are so many visual components
Yeah.
to what you do as well. You know, like you got to package vinyl designs and
Yeah.
CD covers and single art and music videos and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it all just like comes together as like art and creative direction.
Were your parents supportive when it came to that?
No,
No?
they hate my art. Hate it.
Mm.
They're my biggest
Haters.
opponents. Proponents?
Yeah.
Opponents?
Opponent.
Opponents.
Yeah.
I think proponent means the person
Wow.
that supports you, right?
That's shocking.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
to
I
hear that,
mean,
man.
parents can be like that.
I mean, my dad loves music. He's the one that got me into like a lot of progressive rock and stuff like that. But art as a career isn't, you know, it's not something they're proud of. I mean, like I have multiple degrees. I have a master's degree, and you know, I worked in nonprofits and corporate for years.
Yeah.
But like, I hated it so
Yeah.
much, dude. So freaking much.
Dude.
You know,
Once
and I
you're in the
still
machine,
do.
it's just
Yeah.
they try to ruin what
It really
the passion of it.
It ruins your life. I feel like if you're working a job more than like 30 hours a week, it's gonna take a toll on your mental health and your creativity.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. That's like such a stupid stance. You know, people have to provide for their families, but if there's any way to like find a career in something that is more like, I don't know, liberating and fulfilling to you, that you should try and do that, even if it's a lot harder.
Totally.
You know? So, yeah, making the switch to music full time was very difficult. You know, I still do some like contracting and some marketing work for people, because that's what I did previously years ago. So sometimes I'll still take contracts to do stuff like that if I need some extra money to market, you know, my newest release or something. But for the most part, I try to have all my income come from art and music related projects.
Which is a struggle to do, but
Very much so.
congratulations, you're doing it.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you. But I mean, you know, I got a good support system.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a great partner and stuff. But yeah, my parents hate my art. My family clowns me. You know, nobody supports. Even as a grown ass man, you know, I got getting gray hairs in my beard and stuff, and I'm still. It doesn't really matter to me though. Like I know I have so much confidence in what I'm good at, what I love to do, that like it doesn't even bother me. If anything, it's more telling of the people that don't support me.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So yeah.
Good to know. I think this is a good time to show the song that you were talking about.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Baby, I'm trying to be
The production of the drums are good.
lately. My life just seems so gay. Hate working this job. I push carts in the snow. Standing for all hours. My account's still looking low. But it just can't be. Look at all of the things you wish to be you and me.
Who's playing bass on this? Great bass player.
While I keep the aisle straight, I think of all the things I hate, like Palestinian mothers crying. I stop my car and close garage. Still woke up and now I'm late. Back to warm, I'll tell my break. In my Civic feeling great, but not for long, cause I'll be baby. I'm trying to be okay, but lately my life just seems so gay.
Sweet. Are you gonna have a video for it too, or just audio for now?
Probably little performance clips and stuff.
Once in a while, look around and think about just how much longer has my life really got. There ain't nothing left for me here, yeah. Not even my girl want me near. Too many days I've wasted and spent. Too many times in blind crimes I commit and repent. I repent. Take me up to Zenith away from this place. Take me up to Zenith away from this place.
I don't know what that is, but it's like layered. It's like a couple different sounds. Fade out. Let's bring back the fade out. Means the song goes on forever. It never has to end. Nice, man. Really good song. I wish I could hear it on better speakers.
I was
but we don't
thinking we
have
would have
the
speakers
setup.
with all this musical equipment around.
Yeah, but you just didn't have enough time to set up. But
No worries. Well, I sent it to him, dude. Definitely
Yeah.
listen to it again. If
Oh,
you,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna, and we're cool to put it in the episode because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
won't
yeah.
come out till after
Please.
the song
Okay.
drops.
Yeah, no. We should actually coordinate the release.
okay.
Like
guys
the
are down.
30th, right?
Yeah, on the 30th.
Yeah, Oscar told me about it. Yeah, we can definitely
Song
put this
drops
out.
that day. If we put this that day too, then, I'll
So,
push the audience
Do
over.
you want us to review it or like ask you questions, an analysis, or dissect it?
Not really. I mean, whatever you guys want. I mean, any impressions or thoughts.
The
or-
drums was good. Was that a sample or was that a real drummer?
That was sampled.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded live.
Yeah.
I know that's what I do with a lot of my songs and stuff is I'll like sample, but I'll try to make it sound where like it's more organic and real and stuff. You know what I mean? And then there's times where I'll take like stuff that I played live and do hard cutoffs to make it sound more choppy and stuff. You know, so
Like you yourself played drums on some tracks?
on some tracks, yeah. But like if I'm playing drums, it's not the actual drum kit. It's like I'm playing it through my Ableton
Oh,
Push or like
gotcha.
I'm programming it and stuff. You know?
Gotcha.
But yeah, I play like some of every instrument on my music. Most instruments. If I don't know how to play it, then I'll like figure out how to digitally manipulate and play and like play it through synths and stuff like that. But yeah, on this project, I'm definitely getting more people, like outside musicians, to play on stuff too.
Yeah. Talking about the synth, I really like that. It gave me like 70s R&B, 70s, 80s R&B. The little with the slide.
Yeah, I love that part. That was played by my boy
Yeah.
BJ. He's a financial advisor. He's the man, one of the best key players I've ever met.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a top 3 for me. But yeah, we were sitting in the studio and we cooked that up. He's just so good. He's really, really good.
The bassist was really good too. On like you said, the first half is Alan.
Yeah, Alan. So he played the beginning guitar and bass, and he lives in Buenos Aires,
Wow.
Argentina.
Oh.
So you collaborate remotely. You send
Yeah,
tracks.
a lot of
back and
people
forth?
I send stuff to. They live out of the country.
The guitar was really good too. It gave me that neo soul vibes. So there was a lot of neo soul techniques.
Yeah, he played the
too.
guitar in the first half. I
Yeah.
played the guitar in the second
Yeah.
half. And
And
yeah,
it was layered too. I heard like at least 3 guitars.
it was
layered.
really layered.
Yeah.
At any given point, there's like 2 to 4 layers. But yeah, it's actually kind of a complicated track the way we made it. But you see, like for this one, I tried to make it very accessible. You know, like this is probably one of the most poppiest songs on the album, or like of the next batch of songs I'm working on. But I tried to make it just like short, sweet, to the point, interesting, catchy. You know.
But it's kind of like catchy in a psychedelic rock kind of
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I did get that.
Kind of
Yeah.
got a little like Tame Impala vibe.
Yeah.
And the drums, like heavy drums with a psychedelic
Yeah,
melody.
definitely. It's got like that. It's funny, like Tame Impala and like other like contemporary like neo psychedelic bands. They take so much of their drum influence from hip hop. Like Tame Impala drums are very hip hoppy.
Yeah.
So it's funny that like it's like come full circle. I feel like where these drums they're a little bit more like hip hop kind of sounding, like boom bap. But then since like that sound is like repopularized in bands like Tame Impala, people associate it with kind of like being psychedelic rock now.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it's like really interesting because in the past, psychedelic rock songs, like classic, very like thin drums, like they're not like very heavy and boomy,
Yeah.
or like loud in the mix. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, thanks for enjoying it, fellas.
No, thank you. Thank you for showing it to us. It was really good.
Nice.
Is
Yeah.
that song called Zenith or Zenith?
Be okay, right?
No, this one's called Be Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Because I saw it. So good guess though.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
I
good guess.
definitely got the theming of the album when that line came in.
Mhm.
I was when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, this is a concept album and song. I kind of thought it was just like kind of your personal voice again because it sounds personal.
Yeah, no,
The lyrics.
it does, but like I'm kind of, it's like an amalgamation of so many different stories and like ideas that are kind of going into one, like one singular character, which is the spaceman. So yeah, it's definitely conceptual, and I love like exploring concepts. I feel like it just like it like unshackles you, You know, it breaks away the shackles of things that you think that you need to stay within.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can totally explore new personalities and ideas and people's experiences. You know, so it's really cool.
It's fun to create your own universe, you know. And
That's literally what I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
do here. I'm trying to create like my whole own universe. You know, the Zenith universe, Syed Squad. That's what I'm gonna call my fans.
That's
Syed
really
Squad.
funny.
What should we call them? Squatters?
It gives me
Not
like the Dragon
squatters.
Ball Z vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The song or the Syed Squad?
the Science Squad. Yeah,
What vibes?
Dragon Ball Z vibes.
Oh, Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, all your music is really impeccably mixed and
Thank you.
mastered. Do you handle the mixing yourself? Or
I don't.
You,
I
okay.
don't. I have.
Do you work with the same person?
I do.
album to
So
album?
so my main engineer is again another artist from Argentina, Louis Peluso. He mixes all my stuff. A good majority of my stuff, but I have different engineers that do so many different things on the songs. Like before it even gets to Louis, I've had like 2 to 4 different engineers that have touched the songs and the stems and like
Okay.
made tweaks and stuff, you know?
Wow.
So that like that's kind of like post-production, you know what I mean? Like after the song's made, like everything that we do to mix and master it, it takes such a long time. And I try so many different things with it too, you know, like depending on how you want it mixed and mastered, like you can totally get your own aesthetic just through that too. Like, do you want it to be very like washed out, reverby? Do you want it to sound old, analog-y? Do you want it to be modern, digital? So sometimes, I mean, this song, Be Okay, this song was down like 2 whole steps or like 1 whole key before. And then we moved it up a key because for a while I couldn't even figure out exactly how I wanted it. You know what I mean? And like being in this key now, which I think is E, I think it's in the key of E. It just suits my voice better.
Yeah.
You know. But thanks for noticing that. I'll make sure Louis knows that you love his mixing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was really impressed. So he did like House in the Vines and Bismillah too? Like
He didn't
the
do any
final
of Bismillah.
mixing? Okay.
I worked with Cole Krugel from Classic Studios. We recorded and mixed the whole thing together. And then I worked with Sterling Sound down in Nashville. They had just opened a new studio back then in like 2018. So I went there and got it mastered, Bismillah. And then House in the Vines, I actually got it mastered by Mike Bosey from Bernie Grunman Mastering in LA. And this guy's done like To Pimp a Butterfly. He mastered that album. He did Igor. He works like on Chance the Rapper's albums. Like he works on huge albums.
He mixed Bismillah or mastered
This guy,
Bismillah?
Mike Bosey,
Yeah.
he mastered House in the Vines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Cole and Sterling Sound mixed and mastered Bismillah. And then Louis, Cole, and my boy Eon mixed House in the Vines. And then Mike Bosey mastered that one.
One of my favorite moments on that album is just the drums on, I think, the first song after the intro monologue. Had the really fast, like, aggressive hi-hats. It's such a, like, amps you
on
up.
Reborn, right? I'm working on actually releasing a music video for that. Been filming it for like a year and a half in pieces.
Yeah.
It's nothing epic either. It's just like me performing in different places, but
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, it's slowly coming together. But yeah, I love that song. Like those drums at the end, I remember sampling that. I just like layered a bunch of parts and made them weave in and out, so it sounds kind of like choppy, but it's a very like aggressive feel to it, you know.
Speaking of drums, there's what sounds like a live drum solo on, I think, the song "Greet Death."
Yeah.
Is that's a real drummer, right?
Yes,
it has
sir.
to be.
Yeah. So
Who's that?
So that was my boy Ross Robbins. He's a metal drummer for the band Synovial, and you know he started off playing jazz for years, like in school and stuff, and then he played metal primarily for most of his career, but you know, he really does amazing when it comes to like progressive rock and stuff. And with Greet Death specifically, I wanted that song to be almost like a masterclass on like progressive hip hop. So, you know, I got him. He played drums for the last 2/3 of the song. The first third I like sampled and did like drum programming, and then it like as the program drums are like fading out, I have his real drums fading in. but the drums themselves stay at the same volume. You know what I mean? So it's like very progressive the way it changes like that. And like it slowly goes from like straight up hip hop production, hard 808s into like bass guitar I play over there. And then I have like organs and pianos and stuff that come in. So yeah, that song has like a 2.5 minute drum solo on it.
Yeah, that was a good drum solo.
I actually really love the really crazy scratchy guitars at the end. Did you listen to that at Greet Death?
I have to go back and listen. I just heard it.
That's like one of my
time.
favorite things in that song, with like all those layered vocals.
Did you play the guitars or? The
Yeah, I played all
guitars?
the guitars in that song.
Nice.
Yeah, I recorded those so trashy. I recorded it at House in the Vines with like an old combo PV amp and like a messed up guitar that had a messed up input. And like as I was playing the solo, I just used like tremolo, and I recorded it like in an open hardwood floor room like this, no sound treatment.
Yeah.
And like you can hear the static of the input going in and out. It's like really trashy, really trashy sounding.
It's the vibe.
Yeah, very much so. It's like ominous and dark. I love it.
Are you using Ableton when you record at home? Is
Yeah.
that your DAW?
Yeah, I use Ableton on everything. If I'm going to studios, usually we use Pro Tools or Studio One, but Ableton all the way.
I wish I was good at Ableton. I got the free trial when they were doing like a free license during COVID
Yeah.
for 90 days, and I was trying to learn it, but I just
90 days
I'm
isn't long
back
enough.
in Logic. Yeah, it wasn't enough time.
Honestly, I'm going up to like 3 or 4 albums worth of stuff that I've made through Ableton, and I still feel like I suck with Ableton. I just know enough of what I need to get the work done, but in terms of like the breadth of knowledge that you could have about Ableton and sounds that you can make from it and manipulate, I don't know it that well at all.
It's so powerful.
It is extremely powerful. So that's what I was talking about before, even before like AI. Like there's just so many tools that you can use to like make music. But if you take the time to understand these programs well enough, like Ableton, the point I was trying to make before was that there's going to be mediocre art that gets put out. I feel like if you go through the process of learning the stuff that you need to learn about your DAW and like instrumentation, maybe some music theory or aesthetics and mixing, like you'll most likely have like better sounding art. Like it's easier to produce good sounding music now than it was
Back
10,
then.
20, 30, 40
yeah.
years ago.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like in the 60s, you need the Wrecking Crew to make some of those gems, like Pet Sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not even like it's easier now, but it's like it's possible for the average person to even make a song.
Like the
at
barrier
home.
to entry has been lowered. Like the threshold, like it's so much easier to get into it rather than getting signed and having somebody pay for studio time and getting a producer and cutting that to vinyl and stuff. Back then where we can just like make some shit, sample some stuff, manipulate some things and like export it. Very difficult when you're just recording with tape.
Yeah.
I'm trying to actually do that for like the rock tracks I was telling you about. Like I want to work with a lot more analog gear.
It's hard to find tape nowadays. Or you have to like...
Well, Albini over at Electrical Audio, they do like all tape, or like that's what they're known for. I think they do digital now. But yeah.
Wow. I mean, they're running stuff through analog gear, but are they actually recording to tape?
I think they're known for actually recording to tape.
Wow.
I believe so. I haven't recorded there. I work out of Narwhal, which is kind of like the competitor of Electrical Audio, which is where
Really?
Albini works.
Yeah.
Narwhal's the shit, dude.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite freaking studio that I've ever been to. They're in
Where-
Wicker.
where are they?
They're in
Okay.
Wicker. It feels like a mini Abbey Road in the middle of Chicago. It's just like fantastic. The gear that they have, so a lot of the newer stuff that I'm working on, I recorded all or mostly through like analog boards, like output gear, like SSL boards and like Neve, and so like the way that the music goes through there and like the texture that it adds to like the stems is just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like nothing I can get digitally. And it's really great. And I've actually been working with Brian Deck, who is one of the owners of that studio. And he like produced and mixed a lot of albums for like Iron and Wine and Modest Mouse and all that stuff. And he was in the band Ugly Casanova. You know them? It was like a side project of Modest Mouse.
That's right. Yeah.
Modest Mouse members. But I've been having him like mix some of my stuff and on that Neve board and like the SSL, and it's just a whole different level.
Is the song we just heard recorded on at that studio with that gear?
No, I think part of it was, but it was mixed in the box digitally. But even Louis, when he mixes, I think he does use some like analog gear on this, but it's not like, you know, that huge Neve board and stuff. It's like $100,000 piece of gear. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my stuff is a mix. Like sometimes I'll record it through like analog gear, but then mix it digitally and vice versa. You know, it just kind of goes for like the overall sound that we're going for, you know. But I want to start messing with tape way more. I want to like master with tape, and I think like there's really interesting things you can do. You can like record your songs, have a final mix, and then run that mix through tape, like real tape, and it'll add like a tape feel to it and like mess with the frequencies a little bit, and then you can export that, you know. So I want to start experimenting with that. Might need some more money for it, so I might be starting a Patreon, guys.
The tape fund.
Tape fund.
That's
The tape sessions.
seems like a hard world to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What about for your music? Do you guys do any analog stuff, or mainly just like do your interface into Logic?
Yeah, I use Logic for all the mixing and stuff, but our upstairs neighbor has a lot of really nice analog gear.
That's
We
sick that,
recorded a
that your neighbor is a
with
musician also.
Yeah,
They're probably cool with you being a little louder down here then.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, he recorded us with like some fancy mics and
Really?
stuff, but then I asked him to give me the stems, and I've been mixing it in Logic, so it's not really.
How's your mixing? Do you feel pretty confident in it?
It's hard.
is.
It's so daunting.
You should look into getting Isotope.
Is that like that AI plugin, or not AI, but it like
It helps.
Somehow
yeah, it like assists.
tells you what to do?
It like
Or does
what
it
you can
for
do is
you?
you can like run your song through it, and it'll like evaluate the frequencies and give you like tips or like just like ways of making that process easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I should look into that.
Honestly, I stopped trying my hand at mixing. I would rather give my stuff to people whose whole world revolves around mixing. You know what I mean? Because my
Yeah.
whole world revolves around songwriting, production, and especially arrangement. I think like being an arranger is one of my like fortes, and it's like something that I really focus on and try to improve on, because especially when it comes to the music like progressive hip hop, which is like very experimental, the way that you arrange songs, where you have certain instrumentations coming and going, how long certain parts of the song are, instrumental passages, like all that has to do with arrangement, you know? So
For sure. Yeah.
it's like something that I'm really honed in on.
Did you have any like musical training growing up that fueled that part of your brain, like the compositional side, playing instruments?
No, I was self-taught for everything, but when I was in like elementary school into like junior high for a few years, I played in orchestras. I played violin. Man, I was really bad. I was like the last chair.
Violin's so fucking hard.
It is. I mean, I got good at it and I really enjoyed it, but like I was just a clown. You know what I mean? I would be playing that thing like a guitar all throughout class, hitting on chicks. You know what I mean? And then like I sang in choir a lot too. Again, chicks. But you know, they tried to teach you some theory and stuff that you don't really learn too much when you're in public school learning music, you know? So for the most part, I would say like it's all just self-taught. And even when I started making music like seriously as a professional, I had to like unlearn a lot of the things that my limited formal training gave me, just so that I could discover it for myself and like learn in my own way without having the restrictions that they kind of give you when you're, you know, learning these types of things. But no,
Right.
other than that, I never took lessons. I learned guitar, bass, limited piano, all on my own, drum programming, YouTube videos, interviews. You know, you love something enough, you're gonna
do it.
you're gonna end up there. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any plugs or anything? Or anything else you want to say before we call it?
I don't think so, baby. I got anything else I want to talk about?
Just go on YouTube. All the videos are there.
Check out my YouTube. All my videos are there. We're popping off. I think we're at 153,000 subscribers.
Nice.
Check that shit out. Listen to my music. I put my freaking life and soul into it. One of the main tenets of my music is that I tell people my music will understand you in ways people won't, and I really try to make my music for me first, so that it like brings me comfort. And I know there's a lot of other freaks and weirdos out in the world like me, so I think this music will bring you some comfort and like help you to feel loved.
And when is the album coming out?
Nothing set yet, just working through the songs and seeing, what each song does individually. I'm kind of starting this like series where I come up with like a song idea, and then through social media, I'm going to start asking people's opinions, like what other instruments do you want to hear on here? Do you like this? Do you like that? And literally building up my songs through my audience. So I'm kind of going
Didn't Kanye do that on Donda? He was like putting out demos and people were voting on production.
Did he do that? I thought he was more so doing those
listening parties.
Those listening parties.
Yeah.
And then he heard what people liked and didn't like. But here I'm like I'm going to be showing piece by piece, and then when I send it over to like Argentina or Massachusetts or any of these people that I work with, different musicians, I'm going to have them record themselves, what they do on it, how I end up flipping that, and making the music that way. So I think my next album is going to be heavily like influenced by that, like that kind of approach.
Wait, how'd you end up working with people from Argentina? I'm just curious.
Social media, baby.
Okay.
Social media. I am all over social media. That's like, unfortunately, I hate social media, but that's the thing that I have to like be glued to. Like my success is directly tied to social media.
Yeah. That's true. That's
Yeah.
the game nowadays.
Yeah.
It really is.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok. I'm actually starting to post on there more, but Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube have been my biggest ones. YouTube by far. Make the most money there, and I have the most subscribers that come from there. And like the techniques that we use for marketing. I'm a really big marketing guy also. So like the techniques that we use for marketing, they like excel the most on YouTube. 'Cause like everything is based off of like Google's engine and like their system. So like they're the most like tried and true like advertising platform. So yeah.
You know the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, I mean there's people who know it better, but I'm trying. I use the limited knowledge and experience that I have to just make like genuine connections with people. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
So you're like on there like commenting on other channels and making connections that way? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
DMs. A lot of it goes down in the DMs, especially Instagram. So like a lot of these people I've met in different states, different countries, different parts of the world, it's like all just through DMing, I DM people so much, even people that don't speak the same language as me, I just Google Translate and literally build relationships with people that don't speak English and collaborate with them.
I know you have some haters, but like, do you remember any ridiculous ones? Because like we put some stuff on TikTok, and there's people who already start hating. And
on me?
No, on us.
Yeah,
when
like
we were just
podcast
starting
clips on
stuff like
TikTok.
that.
Man, there's a bunch of punk ass,
Yeah,
bitch ass.
it's
kids
ridiculous how they
on
get
TikTok.
angry about stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. Was it just the way you guys look that they didn't like, or was it the content of what you were saying?
I think it was the content.
What were you guys talking
The
about?
comment was there should be restrictions on who can start a podcast. And
Dude,
then
I
some
feel the
people
same
piled
way.
on.
Restrictions on who can start a podcast, who can drive, and who can release music.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And what are your restrictions?
I'm just joking.
Nah.
Restrictions.
Well, no, you said that earlier. You think there's going to be a lot of mediocre art in the world. and
There is.
There's,
There's-
I'm not disagreeing. But
every
isn't
day
that,
there's six figures amount of songs that get released every day,
Oh,
or
that's
what is like
insane.
80,000, 100,000 just on Spotify a day songs.
so,
Not every single one of those is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say very few of them.
I don't
but,
even even me. I mean, it goes for me too. I feel like I have duds of songs, but like you need to create those in order to get to the good stuff. But there's a lot of songs I worked on that I didn't release. You know what I mean? Like I feel like not everything has to be released. And of these songs that are on Spotify, I was just reading a statistic that like I think 80% of them have 0 streams.
There was a
Which
website.
means that even the person that released it didn't
Yeah.
even listen to their song.
there is a website where you can listen, or like some kind of like link where you can listen to songs on Spotify that no one has ever listened to.
Oh, really?
And it can go there for hours, days even.
Years.
Yeah.
Millennia, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want people to make art. I think that we should be a little bit more critical of our art too. Like, again, there's a fine line. Like, sometimes people need to make things that are cathartic and like it's a release for them, but you know, it doesn't have to be garbage. You know what I mean? Like, you could use some of the established rules and ideas that make art objectively good, or like in the direction of it. You know, I think to say like everything is just so plain and plainly subjective is it does a disservice to people and like their expectations of what it means to be an artist and like what kind of art you create. You know, that's how I feel.
I see your point.
Yeah.
Huh?
What do you guys think? Do you subscribe to that mindset that everything is subjective and if it's art, it's art?
That's tough. I agree with you that there's objective markers of quality and like you were saying too, genre specific ones at that. But like next big thing that takes the music industry or any creative field by storm might be something that all of us think is absolute trash because it's so outside of our like.
Yeah, I mean it's different though. If there's like millions of people that are flocking to something and we just like think it's stupid, I feel like that's a little bit more opinion based because why would millions of people like this, you know? But some of these songs that have 0 streams, not every single one of them is going to be good. You know, and like the way that the market is saturated and people are just releasing rapid fire, like no proper mixing, no proper mastering, no proper production and songwriting too. I mean, like, dude, I like actually, it's very fun for me to hunt music that I think is embarrassing and goofy. And I like listen to it in my free time. And some of the shit that I find on Spotify, man, oh boy, dude. And these people, they some of them literally say that they're not trolls, and in their description they write that this is some of the best music in the world. And man, I listen to it. It is hot, steaming garbage, but I love it.
Yeah, maybe it made that person happy to
Exactly. And made me smile.
There you go.
Grimace, maybe.
I feel like in the future, not even the distant future, like everyone, if they want to hear music, they'll just like make their own song right on the spot. It's like exactly what they want to hear.
See, that's what AI is doing a lot. Like you can like tell it a description, a BPM inspired by this and that, and it'll just create some shit that sounds like that. And even now in like a somewhat rudimentary state, it's passable, you know, but when it gets really good, you know, what if AI starts releasing music that's like, that has like the human mistakes that make music really good, like Robert Plant, right? He sings a little pitchy. You know, they don't have auto tune. Pops and clicks of vinyl. Like, what if AI can reproduce all this and really hone in on exactly what makes music to us? You know,
I think it's getting there.
I think it'll get there.
Yeah.
You know, the value and how much it takes over really depends on how we as a society and people will like put that much stock into it. Like, will we allow it to discourage people who are actual musicians, human musicians from releasing? You know what I mean? Like, will people be like, AI can already do it. I'm not going to spend the next 5 to 10 years learning this and having the satisfaction from learning how to play this and learning how to produce and the art of recording and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, for me, even if AI could, and in some cases I'm sure it probably can already make music that's better than mine, I make music because I just freaking love it, and that's like what I want to do in life. You know what I mean? And that's just why I do it. And I feel like there'll always be people that are there like that, you know?
It's all about finding the, for the lack of a better word, the ether of the core, the soul of what your art is, whatever the medium is.
Like Lily Chow, Choo Choo.
Yeah.
Shoo Shoo.
Yeah. I mean, like John Lennon said, there's nothing you can do that can't be done, you know, for the most part. Like, even though, like, yes, there's certain music that I make that literally nobody else can make exactly like that. But for the most part, people can always do stuff that's, again, quote unquote, better. Yeah. Better than you. But, like, should that be something that discourages you?
No,
you know?
It shouldn't be.
So I feel like it gets into kind of a philosophical conversation, you know?
True. But on that note, we should call it.
Thanks a lot for having me, fellas. Dylan, it was really great meeting you.
Yeah, good to meet you
Husker, it was
too.
great seeing you again
nice
after a
seeing
very
you
long
again,
time, dude.
Yeah.
Be okay. Out now. Listen to it. You're going to love it. I promise. Bump it in the car.
Don't forget
You
to
probably
like and
just heard
subscribe.
it if you listened to this whole episode. Listen to
yes.
it again.
Listen
Look
to it
up on
again, but actually
Spotify.
use real speakers.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, but you're gonna put it in.
I'll make it in the audio.
Got it.
So it
So-
should be full stereo quality.
Sweet.
Yeah, thanks
Alright,
so much for
thank you.
joining us.
Woo!
All right, that was fun.
Yeah, that was great. I really enjoyed the conversation, guys.
Likewise.